NASCAR fans. Have you ever had one of those races where you just couldn't look away? That's what happened at Darlington Raceway. The stakes were sky high, the drama was off the charts, and the stories that unfolded were unforgettable. Chase Briscoe needed a win to stay alive in the playoff hunt, and he delivered a performance that had everyone on their feet. But while Briscoe was busy securing his spot, another driver was capturing the hearts and minds of fans everywhere: Tyler Reddick. He wasn't just racing for a championship, he was battling his own body, fighting through an illness that would have sidelined most people. Despite it all, he finished 10th and clinched the regular season championship by a single point. How did Reddick pull off such an incredible feat? And what does this mean for the playoffs ahead? But before we get started, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss more amazing stories from on and off the track. Let's get into it. Chase Briscoe knew exactly what was on the line at Darlington. His entire season boiled down to this race. A win was the only way to keep his playoff dreams alive, and he wasn't about to let that slip through his fingers. With nerves of steel, Briscoe took the wheel of his number 14 Stewart-Haas Racing Ford and drove like his career depended on it. Because it did. In the final laps, Briscoe made his move. Kyle Busch, a seasoned veteran, was in his sights, but Briscoe wasn't intimidated. He pulled off a daring pass that left Busch in his dust and crossed the finish line first. Briscoe had done it. He was in the playoffs. The celebration was well-deserved, but even as Briscoe basked in the glory of his clutch performance, the spotlight started to shift. There was another story unfolding, one that would steal the headlines and capture the imagination of fans everywhere. While Briscoe was making his last-ditch effort for a playoff spot, Tyler Reddick was fighting a very different battle. The regular season championship was within his reach, but so was a severe stomach bug that had him struggling just to stay in the car. Darlington Raceway is known for being one of the toughest tracks on the circuit. But Reddick wasn't just up against the competition, he was up against himself. Imagine trying to focus on racing at high speeds while your body is betraying you at every turn. Reddick was nauseous, dehydrated, and in pain, but he refused to give up. Every lap was a test of his endurance, but Reddick pushed through, knowing what was at stake. His number 45 Toyota was more than just a car that day, keeping him in the race when everything else seemed to be falling apart. Despite the immense challenge, Reddick managed to finish 10th, just ahead of Chase Elliott. That single position was enough to secure the regular season championship by a razor-thin margin, 1 point over Kyle Larson. It was a performance that transcended the race itself, showing what true grit and determination look like. Be in the fast lane by subscribing to our channel. Stay updated on all the latest NASCAR news and driver stories. Don't forget to like and share this video with fellow racing fans. Reddick's day was anything but easy. As the race wore on, his condition worsened. By lap 100, he was signaling to his team that he was in bad shape.
I'm throwing up, seeing myself, all of it.
Most drivers would have called it quits, but Reddick kept going, his eyes fixed on the prize. His team tried to help. They passed him medication during a pit stop, but Reddick was so out of it that he dropped the pills. Desperate to keep him in the race, they crushed the meds into a water bottle and handed it back to him. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep Reddick in the fight. As the final laps approached, Reddick's crew made a crucial decision. They put him on fresher tires, giving him a slight edge as he began to claw his way up the field. Every position mattered, and Reddick knew it. With sheer willpower, he made one last pass, just enough to clinch the championship by a single point. It was a victory not just of skill, but of spirit. Adding to the intensity, Michael Jordan himself was at Darlington Raceway, witnessing the drama unfold. As someone who knows all about performing under pressure, remember his legendary flu game in the 1997 NBA Finals? Jordan couldn't help but be impressed by Reddick's grit and determination. "We won by 1 point. I mean, he gutted it out," Jordan said, reflecting on Reddick's effort. As Jordan acknowledged the determination behind the wheel of the 45 Toyota, Reddick himself opened up about the grueling challenge he faced during his regular season championship win at Darlington.
I mean, by the end of stage one, I couldn't even really focus on what to tell the guys to do on our Protector to Camry. So it was frustrating, man. We had that buffer over the 5, and I just watched it disappear all day long. And I trying everything I can to drive this car as fast as I can. It was just a real struggle, honestly. I don't have anything left.
Now, let's shift our focus back to the star of the show, Chase Briscoe. His victory in the Southern 500 was nothing short of spectacular. With everything on the line, Briscoe showed the kind of composure and determination that defines champions. His victory was not just a personal achievement, but a powerful statement to the 300-plus employees at Stewart-Haas Racing, many of whom face an uncertain future as the season draws to a close. After the race, an emotional Briscoe reflected on the significance of the win. both for himself and his team. He candidly shared,
Last week was the most embarrassing race I've ever ran in my life. And I told Richard, I said, I don't even want to talk about it. I promise you I will make it up to you next week. Everybody knows I'm a diehard Tony Stewart fan. And to get this 14 car back in victory lane and, for all 320 something employees to be able to race for a championship in their final year, man, unbelievable. So, yeah, God is just so good. It's like deja vu there at the end with Kyle.
But here's the twist. Even with all that drama, and with Briscoe grabbing that much-needed win, the story of the day was still Tyler Reddick. The Toyota driver's performance that day turned him into a legend. The story wasn't just about winning a race, it was about overcoming adversity, about pushing beyond your limits, about showing the world what it means to be a true competitor. Meanwhile, as Darlington captured headlines, another story was unfolding at Daytona. Parker Retzlaff, a rising star in the Xfinity Series, got his shot at the Cup Series with Beard Motorsports. But what started as a career-defining moment quickly spiraled into a controversy that could alter his future in the sport. Retzlaff, who's part of the Chevrolet driver program, was expected to help his Chevy teammates. Instead, he found himself pushing Harrison Burton, a Ford driver, to victory over Kyle Busch. That move didn't sit well with Chevrolet and RCR. They expected Retzlaff to play the team game, especially with Busch's playoff hopes on the line. Instead, his actions sparked a backlash, with Chevrolet considering penalties that could include suspension or even dropping him from their program. Retzlaff defended himself, explaining that he was trying to secure a good result for himself and his sponsors. But in NASCAR, loyalty to your manufacturer is paramount. Retail's decision may have given him a short-term boost, but it put his long-term prospects in jeopardy. Ford might be interested in picking him up, considering he just helped them win, but switching manufacturers isn't a decision to take lightly. So now the big question is, where do we go from here? For Tyler Reddick, the playoffs are the next big challenge. He enters as the 3rd seed, with 15 bonus points in his pocket. His performance at Darlington has made him a fan favorite, but can he keep the momentum going? As for Chase Briscoe, fresh off his clutch win, now faces the daunting task of staying competitive in the playoffs. The competition is fierce, but Briscoe has shown he can rise to the occasion when it matters most. And then there's Parker Retzlaff. His future with Chevrolet is uncertain. He's got the rest of the Xfinity season to prove his worth, but the Daytona drama has cast a shadow over his career. Will he stay with Chevrolet, or will Ford come calling? Either way, Reddle's next move will be critical. Alright, NASCAR fans, that's all I've got for you today. What do you think about Tyler Reddick's grit and dedication? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get this discussion rolling. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe for more interesting stories and updates from everything NASCAR. Do share this video with your friends. Until next time, keep the conversation going on Lucky Dog on Track.